Now it is time to re-outline my book. I have 100 of each color. Hopefully that's enough. I already have about 100 cards. My outline has already grown tremendously. I technically have 33 chapters. I feel a lot more confident going into the story. Hello and welcome to an outlining vlog. I am so excited that today I'm going to outline my book. If you're new here, my name is Stephanie and I'm writing my very first book. And where I am in the process is I just finished draft 1. I read draft 1, thought it was terrible, replotted my book, and now it is time to re-outline my book. And this time my outlining is going to look very different than the way I've done it before. I do outline my book with index cards. The first thing I'm doing is using a lot more cards. When I did my outline for the first draft, I only had about 30 cards or so, and those cards just pointed out kind of like the main themes and progression of the story. So it was like, the book starts here, then this happens, then the characters go here, and that's just kind of how it went. And I had about 30 points. And while this was good for me to go ahead and do the story, what I found, especially while reading my first draft, was that there was a lot of very small plot points and plot devices that I just completely forgot to include in my draft while I was writing. Some of these I realized as I was writing, and others I didn't. And I think it's because they're always in my head, like I know they exist in my head, but they weren't in my outline. And so when I was going through and doing the work of writing, I didn't have a clear plan of when I was putting these things in. My plan now is to make cards for all these individual plots and stories I have within my book. That way I can clearly see where to write them when it comes to the writing process and I don't forget them, because the last thing I want is to write a second draft and forget half my story again. The second thing I'm doing, which is completely different, is using colored index cards. Close up. So there's 5 colors in here. And I bought 4 of these, so I have 100 of each color. Hopefully that's enough. If it's too much, it's not a big deal because I will be making an outline for my next book at some point, so it's fine. And I still have the white ones. I forgot to say that. I will be using these, so let me talk about how I'm gonna use the colored cards. So before, when I did my outline, it was all on the white cards. And this, it was my first attempt at an outline. But what I found is when I was looking at the outline, I just had this mass of white cards, and if I needed to find a particular scene or a particular moment in the book, I kind of knew where it was based on the layout because I organized my outline in acts, but I would have to search each card and read each card and look for it. And so there wasn't any way, if you were visually looking at the outline, to distinguish between scenes. I'm hoping that by using colored index cards, I will have a much better time when I'm looking at it from like above, like I say above because it's always on my floor, that it will be easier for me to locate certain scenes and to see patterns in my writing or in my outline. So I'm gonna have like one thing for each color. So the white ones are gonna be like the main story points. I might have the opening scene, for example, would be one card. And then the next big scene would be another card. And if the characters go to a location and spend a few days there, I might have like one card be that location. And then I'm gonna have themes for each color. I haven't decided on the colors yet, but I know for sure one color is going to be the female main character, my protagonist, and it's gonna be anything that has to deal with her story arc. I'm probably gonna have another one for the male main character. I will definitely have one for like world building / or magic. I haven't quite decided. I have 5 colors, so I have only 5 categories unless I figure out another color to get or if I need one. But I'm hoping that by using the colors for every theme or person, that when I'm looking at the outline, I can clearly see their arc through the entire story. And that way I can see if I have too much information crowded in one place or if I need to spread it out a little bit, because that's one thing I noticed while I was writing the story. I felt like my characters' progressions were a little slow, and if I had really focused on where to put certain moments in my character's journey, I think I could have paced it a little better, because I felt like in my book there was a whole bunch of exposition and then a bunch of the character stuff happened at the very end. And there needed to be more of a build throughout the novel. With that being said, it's time to outline. I'm really excited. This is the most hands-on part of the writing process for me. I really have fun with it. It's fun to write out your story on cards and to organize them and rearrange them and to see your story kind of build itself. So what I'm gonna do first is write the white cards. I'm gonna write out all my main scenes. I have a very short outline that I made when I was plotting the book from the last video. I'm gonna go through that outline and put in each thing on a card. That's gonna start the flow of my story. Once I have all my white cards done, then I'm going to fill in the story and start putting the details in with the colored cards. I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's gonna be a colorful thing and it's gonna be fun. I'm excited to see how big this gets. That's one thing I'm not really sure how big this is gonna get. I have space. So what I'm gonna do, I have a bay window right here. And I'm gonna start in the bay window area because I haven't got that furnitured yet. I have enough space. It's a good space to start and it's out of the way. Let me see if I can show you. Okay, I'm gonna show you. So I'm gonna start here in this space. I think it's big enough. Okay, I don't know how long this is gonna take. Like, I don't know how long it's gonna take for me to formulate my story, arrange all these out, move them around, and then finally be satisfied enough to be done with the outline. Because once I'm done with the outline, I'm gonna start draft 2. I've got my work cut out for me because this is quite a lot of cards, but I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun doing this and I'm looking forward to the final product. Hopefully the sound isn't too bad, me being on the ground and everything. I'm taking a break. I've sort of finished for right now. It was a really quick process getting all the stuff I knew on paper right away. I've already done a lot of work in developing where to put things. I have found this to be extremely helpful. There's been several instances already where I'm like, oh, I forgot to put this part in and I forgot to put this part in. And it's things I didn't put in the book. And it's things that, quite frankly, if I didn't do this, I would probably forget to put. And it's nice because I write it on the paper and then I say to myself, where am I gonna put it? And I find the spot where I think it makes the most sense and I put it there. I've also already taken out some cards and added new cards and rearranged scenes a little bit. It just made sense as I was doing it. One thing I'm kind of struggling with right now is I have certain themes and people assigned to different colors, but when a scene has multiple people or it includes people and world building, I'm like, what color do I use? It's a really basic kind of question, but that's what's been baffling me the most through this whole process, is what color to use in those kinds of situations. I pick what I think is best, and if I need to change it later, I can. My outline has already grown tremendously since I first started. I'm looking at it right now. I've got a lot of the beginning and middle done. The end is very bare just because I haven't had much time to get to that part yet. I put the main things that I've remembered, but I was really sort of plotting out the beginning, and then I am kind of right now in the middle, and then I'll get to the end later. I'm pretty happy with the beginning. Again, the beginning's always been the strongest point in my whole story. I've known how it's going to be this whole time, so it's easy for me to come up with the note cards and all the important things that need to be in there. I actually think I need to add something to the middle because just looking at it, it's just missing meat, and I need to give it a little something extra to beef it up. And then the and I'm a little nervous about the end, but I think I just need to wait till I get to that part, and then it'll kind of let itself work it, it'll work itself out. I'm gonna take a break and have dinner, and then I will get back to this, and hopefully I'll make some more progress tonight. I'm gonna probably break into my second pack of note cards tonight. I've got, let's see, 2 green cards left and some yellow cards. This break does come at a good time because my mind is starting to slow down a little bit. So it'll be nice to kind of detach myself from this story. I felt like, honestly, this story was being worked over in my head so many times, especially because I'm trying to figure out the whole plot. So my mind is just running at a million miles a minute. It'll be nice for me to slow down, take a break, and then I'll get back to this in a few hours. Good morning. It's another day of outlining. I have to admit, I'm having a really fun time doing this. I think this is working so much better than the last time I did this. I already have about 100 cards laid down. I have slowed down a lot. I've got a lot of the meat of the story down. What I was working on a little bit last night was the emotions. Like in this scene, this character needs to feel angry. In this scene, the character needs to feel scared. I realized when I was writing, I did not do a very good job of conveying these emotions. Like I knew what the characters were feeling in my head, but I don't want to say forgot, but it didn't cross my mind to convey that emotion while I was writing. Like it may have come across in the dialogue, but it didn't necessarily come across in their actions or their feelings. So I'm just putting little reminders in there. So that way when I go through and work on each chapter, I'm like, oh yeah, so in this chapter, I need to make sure to convey that the character is angry. The other thing I worked on a lot last night was kind of finalizing the plot. I do have it broken up into 3 acts, and my middle act was a little weak. I came up with some ideas for that, and I've just been trying to really add fluff, I guess you could say, to the last 2 acts. The first act, I have a very clear vision for it. The second act, I really only came up with that concept like 2 days ago. So I've been slowly filling it in. And the only issue I have with the second act right now is I don't know if I need to add more to it. Like if I do a few things, it would add more. And I think what that will come down to is like a word count thing. Do I need more words? Is what I wrote already not enough? I think I won't know that answer until I write that act. As far as the third act, sorry, I keep looking at it because it's, right in front of me. As far as the third act goes, index card wise, it looks a little weak, but I think it's because there's a lot of action and I'm not writing like every step of the action in an index card. Like I know what needs to happen, and there's less about like emotions, and I don't have to write all my foreshadowing hints in there because it's the end of the book. Like that's where it all comes together. When I look through it, it makes sense like what's there, and I think that it's enough. I really don't think I need a ton more cards. So what I'm gonna do today is really sit down and think about the plot. Does it make sense to go from this white card to the next white card to the next white card? And then do I have enough colored cards for everything that it flows, right? So I want to go through each card, and does every card flow to the next card? This one will probably be a little less hands-on and probably more thinking. I'll probably end up doing some rearranging. I rearranged a little last night where I was putting some things. I'm definitely not done, but I feel like I'm done in terms of plotting. Like I don't really need to think about new scenes or new ideas or anything like that. It's just thinking about, does what I have work, and have I explained or described everything in the book enough? So that's what I'm going to focus on today. First, it is early in the morning. I haven't even eaten breakfast yet, so I'm going to make myself a quick breakfast. and then I'm gonna get right into outlining. This process went a lot more quickly than I thought. I really didn't have that much more to add to my outline. I added a few cards and I reorganized some cards, and there's one scene or thing in particular that I've moved around like back and forth to 2 different places, and I still don't know where to put it. And I think what I'm gonna end up doing is just, it is later in the book. I think I'll just go ahead and start writing and then see what makes sense, like how I feel about it when I get to that point, or even just go ahead and write it a certain way and see how I feel about it then. I'm okay doing that this time around because it's like one scene out of many. Before, when I kind of flew by the seat of my pants, it was different because I really had a lot of things where I was like, oh, I'll see how I feel about it when I'm writing. And I don't have that feeling for very much of this time around. I do have room for creative liberties in a lot of these scenes, which I will definitely take, but at least the story is very cohesive. I can follow it from one place to the next. I'm really excited about it. I am much more excited about this outline than I am the last one I did. I feel a lot more confident going into the story than I did last time around. However, I'm not done. I still want to make a chapter by chapter outline because right now my outline is set up kind of by theme and sequence. So like this scene happens, then this scene happens, then this scene. And I don't really have it written by chapter. And this is something I did struggle with while I was writing, is I did this scene thing before, but I didn't outline it by chapter. I had a hard time distinguishing when a chapter ended and when the next one should begin. I kind of did it on a whim, and sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. I want to go into this next draft with a very clear idea of chapter 1, X happens. Chapter 2, Y happens. All I need to do now is take all these index cards and make a quick outline. I'm gonna do that on my computer, and I'm just gonna put like chapter 1 and then 1 or 2 sentences. I'm not gonna go into giant details on this. This is just so my brain knows how to organize the scenes and the thoughts. And then once that's done, I'm going to say that my outlining process is officially done. I'm gonna go ahead and make this outline on the computer. That's gonna be the last step that I need to do before I start writing draft 2. All done. I am so happy to be done with this exercise, and I'm especially happy that it really didn't take very long. I've only been doing this for 2 days, so it took me 2 days to outline my whole story. I think it went easier this time around because I already had some of the story done. I wasn't starting from scratch this time, and I think also just the new organization method I had made it a lot easier to organize my thoughts and put the scenes, all the little scenes and the little things I had in my head, put it all together in one little cohesive outline. I did finish doing my outline on my computer, and I technically have 33 chapters. That will probably change throughout the course of me writing draft 2, but that's just how I decided to organize it based on what I wrote on my index cards. I'm really excited about using these index cards. I'm going to buy an index card holder so I can file these appropriately, and that way they take up a lot less space than all over my floor. I'm already having problems, like I can't get to my windows and close the blinds and stuff because all the cards are out there. But I was really excited to have my final outline, and I just love that it's really colorful. It made it so much more fun to do it with colors. Next step is going to be starting draft 2. I can't believe like I'm doing it already. I feel like I just finished draft 1. I am anxious to start writing again because as I've been doing this outline, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to write this part and I can't wait to write this. I'm really enjoying moving through this process of revisions and editing and re-outlining and all this stuff. I'm gonna talk more about my drafting process when I do my drafting vlog. But for now, I'm finished with the outline, and I will see you in the next writing vlog where I start draft 2.